This video is not for whales and dolphins. It's for you, because you are just like me. Average Gamer here, and today it's time to discuss the ultimate pulling guide. The guide that will always apply to every gacha game, but particularly Zenless Zone Zero. In the immortal words of Rudius Greyrat, money can't buy waifus. Well, I guess in the case of Zenless Zone Zero though, money can in fact buy waifus. So I'll say it. At the top of the video, here's the advice. You should always pull for your favorite waifu or husbando, when we eventually get some husbandos. Moving forwards though, I'm going to refer to waifus and husbandos as just characters, or else I might be at risk of dying of cringe. Before we move on, and I'll explain to you why you should always pull for your waifus or characters, I'm going to quickly mention that this video was supposed to be sponsored, but it's actually fallen through. So if you are interested in sponsoring me, then please reach out on my business inquiries email that you can find on my channel. Now you might think, haha, funny joke, internet man. I'm not joking. Here's where I tell you to ignore anyone talking about the meta in Zenless Zone Zero, including me. Now, I like thinking and talking about what I think might be strong, and I'll usually try and base this talk on the information that we have on upcoming characters and experience from other gacha games. But it's impossible to know anything for sure until the characters are out, and even then, a character's true value may not be clear until much later in the game's lifecycle. For Zenless Zone Zero, that may potentially be when there's a bit more of a pattern around what appears in Shiyu defense, or some agents may be almost requirements to get the best out of future attack or anomaly agents, for example. But as we're a few days into patch 1.1 and only on our third limited character banner, we just don't know enough about the game yet to make those kind of sweeping statements. Due to that, let's actually try and take this idea seriously for a minute. The plan to pull for whatever character you want because you deserve it, and you should just pull whoever the heck you want. Now, in order to make sure you don't gimp your account and make poor financial decisions, you should consider who your favorite characters are and then who they work well with, because you want to make sure your teams are somewhat functional, so there is a small amount of planning that's going to go into this. Now, you should be focusing mostly on building up 2 teams in Zenless Zone Zero for both halves of Shiyu defense, with some flexibility. So maybe an extra character or 2 to swap in to get that type advantage. Which really means that you can only really pick 2 favorite characters and then build the teams around them. So let's say you're really into Juyuan. Firstly, who isn't? Secondly, we'll start to think about what characters work well with her. Now at the moment, it seems that Juyuan has teams that are built around maximizing her personal damage, and as the only other ether support agent who buffs ether damage, we have Nicole, so Nicole should be on her team. Then you kind of just have to make the call as to whether you prefer Anbi or Qingyi as the stun agent, because Juyuan can output much higher damage when the enemy is stunned. Anbi's major plus is that she's free, and Qingyi's is that she'll be able to enable Juyuan to do more damage because of her stun damage buff. But that's talking way too seriously for right now. So what I really want to say is, which one do you think is cuter? Because they kind of do a very similar thing, and then let that be your decision. Before we move on to the second team, this is your reminder that you're probably not subscribed. So please consider doing so, as it really helps support small creators like me. Thank you so much for all the support I've received so far. I really appreciate it. Then you can apply the same logic to choosing your second team. And at this stage of the game, that may look like, well, I'm going to pull Jane at the end of 1.1 for my second team, and it seems like maybe the defense agent Seth is going to function as a good support for her. Then I think I'll need another good anomaly agent for some disorder happenings, and looking forwards potentially, Bernice in 1.2 could work quite well with her, depending on her kit. Or I could get Grace from the standard banner, or potentially losing 50/50s, or if I'm getting towards the 300 pull mark for my free character, I could choose Grace, so that's an option too. In this case here, we can also start to think about who we prefer from a personality perspective for the second anomaly agent on the team, which is kind of a bit of a trump card, because if you can include 2 or more characters that you love on a functional team, then that just frees up more spots for you to put characters in that you really like. And this is where we get to the real meat of the video, because if you can make a team where all of the characters appeal to you, then that's it. You win. You've beaten the game. Because the way that the house wins in gacha is it gets you to spend large amounts of money if you want all of the characters. Then you're probably going to have to be okay with doing that, spending the large amount of money, or being extremely lucky. But for us, average luck gamers that don't want to spend money, or lots of money, then we have to be happy with what we get. And I guess the reason I wanted to make this video is for 3 reasons. It's threefold. It's firstly because people should feel empowered to spend their polychromes in whatever way they please. And if I say that I think a character is mid, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't pull them. If you like them, you should ignore me and just do what you want. I'm going to continue to say whatever it was I was going to say. And the other reason is if you want to remain a free-to-play or low-spend player, you should appreciate what you have and try and create the most fun out of the luck that you're dealt. And for me, that is the fun of the gacha game. I don't want to teach you how to suck eggs, as I think for the most part, most players do appreciate what they have and they play around what they get. I mean, what else are you playing for? More characters, you say? More waifus? Well, yes, there's always going to be hot new characters, and those characters are always going to look cool. But if you can have that one moment of joy when everything is working pretty well together and your team feels good, and for one brief moment you forget about farming polychromes for the new hotness and you just enjoy the moment, then congratulations! You just reached gacha nirvana. And the last reason is that I tend to try and mention this on my who should you pull style videos, but I wanted to have a video to point to say this is how you should spend your polychrome. And it's not listening to Average Gamer or anyone else. It's listening to yourself. Which of the characters appeal to you? Because you should get them and then plan your teams around that. And that is going to keep you playing the game longer than playing around some meta that will probably look different in a few months' time. Because you'll look forward to getting on the game and playing with Chingy or whoever it is. And this isn't to say that I believe units will be power crept really quickly. It's more to say that as we adapt more to the higher levels of Shiyu defense and the newer endgame modes, and potentially other things to come, we may find entirely different ways of playing the game. So hopefully this was a mindset refresh. I think going into playing these types of games, you can lose sight of the importance of playing for yourself and ignoring parts of the meta. Should you still try and build coherent teams? Yes. But at this early stage of the game, you probably shouldn't be planning things out too far advanced in terms of your team directions, as it's impossible to say what's to come. Ultimately, you should prioritize who you like most over any kind of meta discussion, and if you do that, you'll enjoy the game way more. And if you continue to play the game for a few years, even as a free-to-play, you'll end up with more characters eventually than you know what to do with, and you won't even be able to squeeze all of your favorites onto your 2 teams. In terms of me, I'm just starting patch 1.1 now. I'm really enjoying the story stuff so far, and it doesn't matter even if Jane Doe is a terrible meta pick, because I built my entire brand around Ju Yuan and her cake, and now I feel like I have to get Jane. I'm definitely going to pull for her, because you know what, internet? I've realized I'm an arse man. Lastly, for the real ones who hang out to the end, apologies for the delay on this video. I did update you guys on the Discord, but it's just been kind of busy recently and not left me much time to make content. But hopefully I'll be able to post slightly more consistently over the next couple of weeks. If you're interested to hear my thoughts on Caesar and Bernice, the new agents for 1.2, then check out the video that shows up just now. So anyway, let me know what you guys think down below, and as always, pull responsibly and remember to like and subscribe for better than average luck on your next pulls. Bye bye bye.